Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good evening, folks. This is Dave Schmidt, and yes, I am your host here again this week on the Sedona Connection. It is February 8th of the year 2017. It is 6 p.m. on the West Coast. It's 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and it's 7 p.m. here in my home in Sedona, Arizona. And yes, it's 7 o'clock in the evening here. It is dark here, but you know, it's starting to stay a little bit lighter, and the weather's been kind of nice. It was 67 degrees and sunny here today in Sedona, and I know for some of you, still getting snow and cold stuff all around the country, but hey, I'm enjoying it here. No problems at all. So, but want to thank you again for joining me again this week. And Blanca, how are you doing on this fine, wonderful evening with things there in Atlanta, Georgia?
We're doing very well, Dave. Thank you. We also enjoyed a beautiful day, very mild weather, although I hear that it's going to get a little cooler and chillier later part of the week, that's the hard part over here. We'll have 70 degrees, 69 degrees, and then the next day we'll have 40s and 30s, so that's a little hard to get used to.
Yeah. Well, let me say this, folks. I know that on the preview video with the newsletter, I said I was going to do a review tonight. Last week, I said I was hoping to have Mr. M back. He was supposed to be with us last week. He could not do that because he's in a very secure if that's the appropriate term, location in his meetings with people, and we cannot bring him on via phone because there's technology out there that you could trace him back to his actual physical location, and he can't give that away at this time. And I thought I was going to be able to have him this week, and that's not going to work as well. But he and I have been on the phone. We have been talking. I've been talking with some other folks for most of this week. And there is a lot of stuff that is going on behind the scenes. I know a lot of we wonder, when is the round one funding going to take place? I've been hearing consistently from some of my sources that really nothing on the larger scale was going to happen until the new Treasury Secretary was in place. That person had to be in place because they had to have that person that was there to carry out basically, the wishes of the commands of the new President of the United States. And so that's one of the things that they've been waiting for, but that's on the larger scale. But there are some very, very small things where I'm being told that money is moving. Now remember, it all comes back to what's the source of the funds? Where's the money coming from? Some of the stuff on the larger scale is coming from overseas. When it comes from overseas, it has to have the approval of the U.S. Treasury. If the money is already here in the United States in some of these smaller private exchanges or even private transactions, and when I say that, I'm not talking just currency, I'm also talking about bonds, some of those, I am being told that money is being put into place and it is moving. Now, we've heard that before. I hope that's correct. We'll know more. But here's what I know. There is a lot of stuff that is developing behind the scenes. And I am being asked to be in a position with some of the information that I'm being given to be in a very secure, not necessarily a physical position, but in a secure place about what I talk about as well. And I've been discussing this with some of my colleagues, with some of my sources, and we all felt that it was best for me tonight to not go into an extensive program tonight. The things I was going to talk about tonight, I've covered them before. They are all available in my past videos on my YouTube page. You can go and you can see where I talk about what is the source of this money, where does this money come from, why are we being allowed to do this, why is this all happening. I've said very clearly that there are three predominant major sources of all these funds, and almost everything of this comes out of those three. It's the elders, the dragon families, and these very large trusts. And they're getting ready to kick in, it looks like, on some stuff. And that's all I can say. But I've had them say, Dave, when this stuff starts to move, when it starts to get active, you're a person who is basically that you're a public figure, you're a public face. And some of this stuff, some people are going to be elated, and some of it, others are going to be extremely disappointed. And they said, unless you had anything that was pertinent to say, there are times it's just kind of best for you to kind of go black, I guess, if that's the best thing to say, or basically not even talk about it. Don't draw any attention to yourself. Now, folks, you can trust the fact that if I'm not staying on the program very long tonight, that is a very, very good sign that there are things that are happening. Now, don't go sending me emails and asking me, does that mean I'm getting my money next week? No, because remember, I am the vast majority of you that are on my list, and yes, you can sign up on the list. Anybody can do that by going to the website and then clicking on the humanitarian link exchange and filling out the form. You will all be a part of what's called a round 2. And a round 2 from those that I'm dealing with doesn't even start until round 1 is funded and finished. But it looks like that starting process may be happening fairly soon. I hope so. I can't guarantee it. I'm not here trying to build up a bunch of hopes like some of the others say, it's coming in a couple days. You're going to get your 800 numbers in 3 days. No, I'm not saying that. I am relaying to you what my very, very good sources are saying, and we're just hearing a lot of good things that are taking place. So with that, I think that's what all I'm going to say here this week. Blanca, is there anything you'd like to add to the folks before we say goodbye for tonight?
Well, yes, I know part of your thinking for doing a review was because very nice news is that more and more people are signing up and they're wanting to get an orientation, and you were going to address that. But as you said, if they listen to your archives, they'll get a feel, because you would do extensive Q&A after your shows, and several people, because they were new, they would tend to ask similar questions from show to show. So the likelihood that a show in the archives answers your questions is very high. So if you're new to the list, please take the time to go through the archives. There are some, I don't remember the date, but I wish I remembered it, but you did a rather extensive review several weeks ago that they can find in the archives, and that'll get them caught up and oriented as to what they've actually signed up for. And I will also echo, folks, that if you're tuning in, and Dave is saying it's probably better counsel to not spend a lot of time on the show today, that is a good sign, because that means that it's probably better to be circumspect at this time. And so, yes, that's all I would have to add, Dave, because your shows are pretty extensive, lots of Q&A, so I think people will find a lot of information there if they're new to the list.
Well, the other thing is, I've put all the shows on YouTube, especially now that you have the live streaming. But you can also go to the website, and then you click on the Blog Talk Radio link, and you can download that as an MP3 file. So you can take it as an MP3 file. You can listen to it throughout the week, because, folks, a lot of you are sending me emails asking questions, and you're just not doing your homework, and the items have been addressed multiple times, and quite often they come out from the questions in the callers during the Q&A week by week. So it's kind of like, if you want a lot of money, if you want to be a millionaire, then sometimes you got to do your work and you got to stay up to speed with what's going on. And if you've got other sources, that's fine with me, but take some self-responsibility for what you need to do this in yourself. So with that, Blanca, any other comments?
I think that's good for tonight.
Okay, folks, I'll thank you very much. And then, just one other thing. Yes, I still have plenty of seats for the workshop in Oakland. And folks, yes, I do. I'm able to share a lot more there verbally than what I can say here on the programs and on the internet. So if you have the interest in coming to the workshop in Oakland on a week from Saturday on the 18th of February, I still have plenty of seats. The reason I have plenty of seats is because I have a bigger venue. I have a much bigger venue in Oakland than I've had in some of the others, but there's still plenty of seats available. Would encourage you to want to come to that. You will obviously enjoy the workshop, because I've done about, I think, 39 of them now, and I've had thousands of people attend, and hundreds of them said it's one of the best things that they've ever been to. I put the whole picture together and explain the whole thing, and you'll begin to understand why all this is happening, where the money's coming from, why we're getting to participate in this, and the responsibility that we all have. Okay? With that, thank you very much, folks. We'll see you all next week. Okay. All right.